Fantastic. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us. My name is Oriol Pujoldevall. I'm the CCO of Moonsama. And it's great being here for two reasons. First one is because we are really excited to tell you what we've been doing and the work we've been doing to bring NFTs back into the mainstream, not only of the market, but also in terms of utility providing elements in the Web3 space. But also because it's our second anniversary. And through the next 7 days, we'll be unveiling a bulk of the work we've been doing below the radar for the last months. So it's especially significant to start the week with this presentation. Very quickly about ourselves, what is Moonsama? Well, we are a multi-chain protocol that is focusing on one thing, which is basically creating tools that allows other builders to do rapid building for applications that are powered by NFTs. How do we do that? Following one basic principle, which is everything we do, everything we produce, has to accomplish one objective, which is helping other builders leapfrog over some of the most common obstacles or building blocks that are needed for these applications that we've been fighting against for the last 2 years and that we know that need to be taken care of at some point or another if you want to end up generating value. What's the situation we see in the NFT market? Well, we know that NFTs are enablers of a long list of use cases. And we've heard a lot of them. Maybe some of the most popular ones are on gaming, in which they have a very good synergy with in-game assets and giving players and users ownership over the rewards they collect in these games. But also music, the music industry, where they are being used to represent ownership over a certain track or song by digitizing that and putting it into an NFT. The third one, it's a bit of a bias because I come from the energy space. So in the electricity sector, what NFTs are being used for is to demonstrate that a certain unit of energy has been generated by a solar panel or a windmill. And you can print an NFT that demonstrates, acts as a proof that that has happened. And of course, in the art space, we all know, JPEGs here and there, NFTs have revolutionized the way artists interact with their communities. The list goes on and on. However, if you look at the success rate of these projects, the truth is that most of them end up failing. And in most cases, that's because they fail or struggle very seriously at delivering the utility they planned at the beginning. In fact, there was some study by a North American university that found out that projects that launched with a roadmap were more likely to not sell out at the moment of reaching the market, which is crazy, because that means that having a roadmap was associated with doubt and uncertainty, because they thought that most projects fail at doing it, therefore this project will follow that trend. What we want to do is reinvent the wheel and change the way this is perceived, but also the way creators can access utility, not as a future promise after they launch the project, but rather since the beginning, and then focus on just fine-tuning it to come up with an application that leverages all the potential of the technology. How do we do that? We created something we call the Moonsama technology stack, which provides a utility layer that equips these builders with, again, these building blocks they will need to provide the basis of services and utility to the future holders. So afterwards, they can focus on reaching the market in a way that will honor kind of the purpose of the project. What is this utility layer? Well, we built a series of tools that, again, provide these critical blocks that we believe most teams out there will need to, at some point, develop or embrace in one way or another in order to come up with meaningful applications. On top of this, we have the application layer, in which we took part in the development of games and apps that use this utility layer, but also helped other teams come up with products and develop them in different areas. Now, the rest of the presentation is going to be kind of a rapid succession, an exposure to everything we've been doing on the tech side and on the application side. And it all starts with something we call the multiverse portal. And you should think about the multiverse portal as one bridge connecting the Web2 space, where normal applications, games exist, traditional apps that we use on our day-to-day, and the Web3 space, where the blockchains exist, where our assets are in our wallets and when everything is recorded in the chains. What does the multiverse portal do? It puts completely under your control the ability to define how these assets will interact with these applications and create the logic that will allow you to import assets into the portal and draw utility from them in your games and applications. It's kind of a simple layout, really. On the right, you see assets that are in my wallet. And on the left, you see assets that were in my wallet but have been now imported inside of the multiverse portal. Anything that is on the left column now has automatically unleashed its utility into any game or app that we've connected to the portal. Just a minute, I will show you how that looks. We don't stop there. We also allow through the portal for ways of the team, the creator, to interact back with their community. Imagine that you had a certain NFT, let's call it this lion that we have here, gets imported into the portal. Therefore, the utility has been unleashed. Now, by playing a game or an application, suddenly this has yielded some rewards. Some ERC20 token, some ERC1155 NFT. That appears as what we call in-game resources. These have been credits, rewards that you've generated through the use of the Web2 applications connected to the portal. And through a simple click, you can bring them back to the on-chain world, to your wallet, where later on you can trade, you can rightfully own the rewards you've collected. Schematically, it looks in the following way. As I said, the portal acts as the bridge between Web3 and Web2, where the applications exist. And what I was showing you a second ago, it was the Moonsama domain that uses our NFTs, our games, and our applications to create this bridge. But if another builder comes along and they have their own collections or they have their own games, it's as easy as simply getting a multiverse portal, spinning a separate version, creating the logic that will allow these assets and applications to interact, and have it up and running in a separate instance of the portal. So if you look at this NFT, that's exactly the workflow. I have my NFT in my wallet, I import it into the portal, and what I unleash is its utility, in this case, in two separate instances of games and apps that we've created. This was a Minecraft server in which our community could compete for rewards, and my NFT has become my skin. The other one is something we call the metaverse, which is a digital environment in which different collections of NFTs can interact with one another. Again, the NFT that I imported now has become my skin into the game. I've covered the multiverse portal. Now let's start naming other convoluted product names. Next we developed is something we call the Composer, which is a tool that tries to kind of cut corners in the process we had to go through to create these NFT collections and allow anybody to create what we call a composable NFT collection. What's a composable NFT collection? Something that has traits or can combine parts of different NFT collections into one. Imagine that you have one collection that represents characters with their body shape and little else, but then you have another one who are outfits, or another one who has tools, weapons, accessories, vehicles, whatever. Oh, wow. Through the Composer, builders can just upload the art, customize the rules and the relationships between these different collections and traits, and generate automatically the metadata that will lead you straight to the minting. And not only for the minting, but later on, also to keep managing and keep updating the collection, the more assets you want to introduce and the more utility new assets will bring to those NFTs. Which takes me to yet the third block of utility that we want to provide with our technology stack, which is a 360 degrees customization. I talked about composable collections that have different traits and can combine different NFTs into one. Well, the customizer precisely allows you to do that. Imagine that you have an NFT, for example, this one. You have been participating in our games and applications, and through your participation in these games, you kept collecting different traits or NFTs. Maybe you collected some backgrounds that you like, or some hats, some fishing rods, or some simple accessories for the hands. Later, you can go into the customizer, and you can decide which of these traits represent better the looks you want to have in all the connected apps and games that are plugged into the portal. So through a simple click, you can assemble your image, as ugly as it can be, and then it automatically translates into an updated skin and looks into all these digital environments. And we not only stop at what we could call the 2D space, but rather we take the jump to the 3D realm with a representation of, again, these traits, these assets, these NFTs, with real 3D models that serve for a very nice display of how they look into your character. But these models are actually usable in a series of apps and games that leverage 3D technology for updated models. So imagine there's a shooter game or a top-down like Diablo or Path of Exile or other games that use isometric looks. Well, you already have the model. It looks very good in the Flex Station, but this is straight and ready to be plugged into a game and usable in an application. Following up on the list of tools we've created to help builders. For now, I've been talking a while about displays, right? How these assets translate into looks. But most of these games, if not all, also have an inherent economy to them. You participate, you collect rewards, and these rewards potentially get airdropped to your wallet as an ERC20 or as NFTs. One essential part of this economy is giving the players the ability to transform these resources into yet another tools or assets that will be used in-game. And that's what we call the workbench. We give builders the ability to, again, come up with their own crafting trees, decide that if it's a mining game, you will collect iron, bronze, gold, and then you can mix it all and come up with a new alloy that you will use in any of your game mechanics. So through the workbench, people can define the logic that the crafting will follow, and then automatically start interacting with any combination of ERC20s, 1155, or 721 tokens or NFTs. And maybe a good example of how that looks is one game we developed called Moonsama, which is an auto battler. You basically collect NFTs. These NFTs have a series of traits, attacks, natures, skill points. You customize your team. You come up with a lineup that you think will beat the others. And you compete in a ranked system in which these fishes face each other until one of the fishes is dead. The reason why I showcase it after the workbench is because Moonsama was kind of the culmination of a long string of crafting that took players from collecting some resources on a Sunday session, competing against each other, to using those to craft a fishing rod that they could import back into the game to fish some fish that later on could use into the game. So as convoluted as that sounded, this was a gaming process that lasted for probably around 5 to 6 months and kept the community engaged in the process of participating in every game that allowed you to collect that piece of resource that later on you would use in the next stage of iteration. Before, I talked about a long list of use cases, right? Energy, art, gaming. Another one was music, so putting music and gaming together. Pretty much, I'm pretty sure most people in the room will remember the good old times of Guitar Hero. So now NFT songs can also materialize in a game we helped develop called Beat Pressure, in which any song you own, you can automatically play on a rhythm game, therefore giving added utility to something that it already accomplishes a purpose, which is song and track ownership. And I speak a lot about the Web3, Web2 world. Well, there's one missing, which is the real world, sometimes overlooked when we work in these spaces. Another thing we did in terms of adding utility to these NFTs is to pretty much leverage this same team of very talented 3D artists that help us come up with the models to also make the jump into social media and to give another layer of usability to these traits and these NFTs to the point in which they can act as filters that you can wear online. So this is an example of one of the traits of one of the collections we minted that when you go to, in this case, TikTok, you can automatically wear it as a mask that adapts to the movement of the person that appears in the video. So it's another tool to help builders engage with their communities and give it yet another utility to the asset. I talked about crafting. I talked about appearances and how all this comes together. Well, one of the most prevalent use cases when you collect fashion accessories and then you go online, it's bragging, it's showing off. And one of the things we developed is something we call the Moonsama metaverse. Okay, the music comes from here. In which we celebrated some parties. In this case, there was a rave celebrating the partnership with Public Pressure, in which everything I said materializes in this digital environment in which trades, composable NFT collections, everything comes together into your avatar, in which you can hang out with your community and be a part of these events. Enough. This was the first version of the metaverse. It's actually very appropriate that we are having this presentation this week, just because in a few days, our CEO sitting here in the second row will have the pleasure of announcing what's the next phase of this concept that will not only be confined within the Moonsama ecosystem, but rather act as an open invitation for every NFT community out there to come hang out in the metaverse and enjoy pretty much every single piece of utility tooling that I described today. So if maybe the map that I showed before was not to your liking, we hope the city of Nova, which is kind of a futuristic environment where all NFTs are invited, will be more to your taste. So taking a step back and recapping a bit of what I tried to convey today. How do we see ourselves? Well, Moonsama sees itself as a utility platform that provides what we would call a metaverse, but it's essentially a platform of platforms to help builders shape up their products, communities, and applications. So from utility platform, we focus on providing digital experiences, so fun and games, giving you not only things to leverage monetarily your assets, but also to have fun and to interact with your community with it. Which, again, fosters the creation of a community of communities. We don't see ourselves nor want to be a siloed environment, but rather a platform that creates or incentivizes that other communities, other builders want to come along and build the NFT ecosystem, not one NFT ecosystem. So to recap, 3 messages that I wanted to send the audience in case anybody in here, this has resonated for them and is interested in seeing where this can take us. First of all, if you are in the space, build with us. So come work with us and leverage the Moonsama utility layer for your project. Second instance, join the metaverse. Pick whichever NFT you like. And we are one call away. Let's make it happen. You can have it walking around the metaverse in no time. And third, join the community. Doesn't matter if you are an individual, if you are part of another community, or if you are already a pre-existing member of the Moonsama community. Let's talk. Let's make ourselves larger, and let's tend bridges so everybody can start building. And with that, conclude my presentation. Thank you so much. I hope you find it insightful. And if there's any question or comment or you want to speak with me, I'll be here for the entire day and tomorrow. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Oriol. I really like to see NFTs getting more usable over time. I really like that. Is there any questions from the audience about Moonsama and its utilities, solutions? OK, there is one question. Feel free, one moment. Thanks.
Do you still feel? Do you feel like you still have a bit of an uphill battle in trying to convince people like laymen that NFTs are dead and that there's still a bit of a utility involved and that might still be a future going forward?
Sorry, could you repeat that? If we try to convince...
Do you still feel like you have a mission to convince the general public that NFTs still have a life ahead of them, that they're not dead, and that they might just be dormant right now, they will still have a future ahead of them?
Well, I think it would be great if NFTs as a tool to raise a quick buck die. So one of the advantages we had, and I've been working in the Web3 space for 6-7 years now, so this is the third crash we go through. Every crash is an opportunity to shut up and keep building. And that has shown us, at least the last 2 times, is that the teams that stayed on course and generated value, well, if the utility is there and the value is there, at some point it will keep flourishing. So we don't obsess ourselves with kind of pitching the NFT concept. I think that the NFTs have utility. It's already proven. Now it's just a matter of making it accessible. Because if you don't make it accessible, the lowest hanging fruit or the most shallow use case, again, is JPEGs for profit. And this is what we are drifting away from. So we don't see it as our mission, but certainly if I can convince somebody that NFTs are still a useful piece of technology, absolutely.
Yeah. OK. Is there any question? Yes? Yeah. One moment.
How the composable NFTs, in the case of the assets, differentiate from 6551 from Ethereum?
6551 from?
From Ethereum.
From Ethereum. So the way the composer works is that you have the metadata from different collections, and then you can establish the relationship in between the different collections and how will they assemble, what are the layers, what is the utility that the skin or the thing that goes into the character will unlock when combined. So it has a direct connectivity to the multiverse portal. That's what makes it special. Once it gets combined and gets imported, the utility is unleashed. So it's a piece of a larger technology stack, if that answers the question. Cool. Yeah? Yeah. OK, so any other question? Yep, there's one there. I think we lost the host. So maybe you can pass the mic to the back. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much. My question is related to your first slide, multi-chain protocols.
Yep.
So how does Moonsama address interoperability challenges and ensure that NFTs that are created using your stack are, can seamlessly interact with across different blockchains?
I'm sorry because it was a long question, but I will have to ask you to repeat it because I didn't catch
it. In short, I'm just asking the NFTs that are created with your tech stack, how they can interact across different blockchains.
Right, so everything happens through the portal. So it doesn't matter if, just to name a few blockchains we've worked with, the Ethereum mainnet, Moonriver, Moonbeam, our proprietary blockchain POA chain called Exosama Network. It doesn't matter where they are. If you fine-tune the multiverse portal to recognize that blockchain and recognize that NFT collection, the moment it's imported, the utility is unleashed anyway. So you could technically have a PFP collection, some body shapes on Ethereum, and then some accessories on parachain of Kusama, and then have it all come together through the portal and materialize in the apps and games. So the portal is what does the magic of putting things together and uniting the utility. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, we have more time, so if you have more questions, feel free. OK,
That's it?
I think we are done.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.